Well, blessed Thursday to you as we come with your daily encouragement. And we are at 1 Peter 4, beginning with verse 15. And Peter writes, "But let none of you suffer as a murderer, a thief, a criminal, or even as a mischief maker." We're going to go to verse 16. "Yet if any of you suffers as a Christian, do not consider it disgrace, but glorify God because you bear his name." Or you bear this name, it says in the translation. What is Peter talking about? Well, sometimes you can be identified as a thief, a criminal, or a mischief maker. I mentioned my time overseas, as an American. Sometimes that brought privileges and sometimes that brought scorn. In weird times, it would also be thinking like if a person touched you, they thought that you were kind of like a good luck charm. Well, we got an American. He's going to help us be wealthy and be smart and be successful in life. We were viewed that way in some cases. In other cases, there are some who didn't like our presence. It wasn't that they were still communists, it was more of that they were still not sure of foreigners in general. And so sometimes what brought you luck in one case would also mark you in another case. But Peter is saying here, don't be discouraged, whatever you are given a label by the outside world. He's not saying go on and be a thief. He's not saying go on and be a mischief maker. He's not condoning that. What he is condoning is embracing the work of Jesus, the work of love, the work of glory, the work of beauty that comes from identifying yourself with Jesus Christ. And that no matter what people label you as, is what they're going to label. Remember, famously, Jesus was not crucified alone. He was crucified on the side of two thieves. Luke mentions one repenting. Matthew just says he was identified with two thieves. Now, we're not going to get into which one had the story right or wrong or if they're both right, but the thing to remember is that being on the cross meant that you were identified for capital punishment. You are identified by doing something against not only the state status quo but against the government, and so it labeled you right away. And Jesus was not afraid to take on that cross, obviously, because he has another mission. His kingdom is not of this world. We had that verse a few weeks ago in church, but it is because whatever label you are given in this life is not comparable to the label you are either given in eternity as a child of God, son and daughter of God, or as a sinner. Now, according to the Bible, we're all labeled sinners. We're all fallen short of the glory of God. We all are identified as something that should be rejected, but in Christ, we are given a new creation, something new and wonderful in this life. So we're reminded too to love one another as we have been loved by God, not as the world loves us, who might label us. And so Peter is saying, don't be afraid. Why? Because he was labeled as that mischief maker, that thief, many times appearing before the Sanhedrin, and ultimately, like many of the apostles, crucified. In his case, according to tradition, upside down, but not afraid. Either was his brother Andrew, whose day was celebrated last Saturday. Reminder that all the apostles, except for John, who wrote the book of Revelation, who also was exiled on the island of Patmos, and all the other things that go with him, all the other ones were labeled for crucifixion, for suffering, and that brought them not just difficulties, but it also spiritually brought them joy because they're being labeled with Jesus Christ. God bless you today. We trust that these continue to be words of encouragement. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.